The Weekly Warm Pipe.
What's up, everyone? How's it going, Jay?
I am doing much better. For those of you that watched Warp Pipe Wednesday, I don't know what happened, but I guess my
Headphones.
thank you, that I typically wear decided to crap the bed. But I do have AirPods, and I took the time, with Russ's help, to hook them up.
Technology.
Yeah, and here we are. So now
Here
I have
we are.
AirPods. I'm not wired in. I can hear Russ. We're ready to go because this is an important weekly Warp Pipe.
We're going to be talking about influential YouTube channels in the retro gaming community, right? That's what we decided on.
That's it.
I believe that's the topic.
Do we have I don't know if we have a definitive order, but we have 10.
Right. Like we're not ranking them. Okay.
Yes, we're not
So
gonna,
this
we're not
is
gonna, but if there was an F tier, I'll tell you who it will be in a
fair
little
enough
bit.
in a little bit. But basically, being on YouTube, I've been on for, I want to say 12 years now, making content, but also consuming content, seeing videos and stuff. And maybe we want to discuss some channels that inspired us to make videos that kind of changed the way we make videos or consume content and set a standard essentially for retro gaming content on YouTube, right?
That's right. I think I've been on YouTube, I want to say 10 years. I mean, obviously not as active the last year. Although my subscribers have been going up, which has inspired me to maybe work a little harder to get that to 10K, just because that'll be kind of neat. Yeah, I think I want to say I got on February of 2014, but I'd have to go back. Is there a way to look on my thing to find out?
Yeah, I can't pull it up quickly. I don't think.
Fair enough. Well,
Right. I might have put it
doesn't-
in my calendar of when I joined YouTube. Joined YouTube in 2009, it says on my phone.
I'm just gonna scroll all the way down to my first video, and I'll tell you when I uploaded it. So it says 8 years ago.
Okay.
How do I tell the date? Just click on it, maybe. Looks
Well,
like
long story short, we've been on for a while.
it just says 8 years. I have no idea. Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, October 2015. October 10th, 2015.
When Jay said, "You know what? I want to make a video and I'm going to post it.
That's right.
Let's start this YouTube." So I'm sure we have matching people on our list that we want to kind of showcase here on influential. I mean, obviously, we're talking retro video games. You have to mention Angry Video Game Nerd. Might as well just start with him, the big one where a lot of people, I'm sure, came across those early videos.
That's right.
Simon's Quest.
Simon's Quest, Ninja Gaiden, Ninja
Gaiden.
Turtles.
Right. Where it's kind of very bare bones review of a game and someone that maybe people could relate to having that frustration of playing an NES game. And maybe some people caught the channel and we're like, "Oh yeah, I remember Nintendo. Like maybe I'll dig that out and play some of those games." I feel like seeing those early videos kind of inspired some people maybe to get back into retro gaming because it was a character. It wasn't James Ralph himself. He was then it was the angry Nintendo nerd. So he was just doing Nintendo games, but portraying a character of like, these games are hard. Why are some of them made so poorly and frustrates me essentially. Um, so it was great watching those. I got a kick out of it and definitely enjoyed consuming that content. And I did like checking out the other stuff that he did too, because he had his Cinemassacre site where he had other videos that weren't video game related, kind of like school project type stuff, almost the Monster Madness things. And he did some other videos that were
Massacre 1000 or whatever it was.
right. And
Or
I enjoyed checking
200
it
or
out.
whatever it was. Yeah.
'Cause
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I did have a draw because I took AV class in school, so I was a little more intrigued at these other videos, not just retro game videos, because I enjoyed editing and all that.
In hindsight, if I could go back and talk to my 16-year-old self, I would say, dude, join AV Club if we even had one, because that would have been That would've been awesome to get an early start on that, but you know what's interesting about the first time I saw James Rolfe?
Mhm.
It was this video where he's talking to himself as a kid, and he's, like, defending the Super Nintendo. So the first James Rolfe I ever saw video
Mhm.
I saw was the Super Nintendo versus the Sega Genesis. And I've told this story before, but, like, what's so funny was he was, like, so well spoken and articulate and, like, just like this normal dude talking about video games. So then when I saw him as the AVGN, I'm like, "Why is this well-spoken, like, dude who made this awesome video, like, why is he cursing for attention now?" Like, I don't understand. I didn't realize that that was, like, actually
A
what
character or, like, what he was
well,
trying to portray or
I mean, like, I think the character was prior to this Sega versus Super Nintendo, and it kind of that gave him the platform to do this more articulated video, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but after, I would say 2, 3 episodes, I was like, "Okay, I get it. This is hilarious. I get it." You know, I forgive you for being this crude, and it's pretty funny.
I
So,
will say I remember watching a lot of the episodes were on Screw Attack. It was
see
like a different website, like, where it hosts a lot of, gamers and stuff to put reviews. So a lot of times you would watch his videos and it'd be, like, brought to you by Screw Attack.
I remembered the intro with all the screws flying through the s I can't talk, through the sky. And, what's funny is at that point, I had never played Metroid or Super Metroid, so I had no clue that Screw Attack was like an
Oh, was
Easter
a
egg
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
Metroid. No clue.
You're like, "This makes no sense why they call this company Screw
I
Attack."
just no, I just thought it was cool, and then, like, a couple weeks later when I was finally got into Metroid, I was like, "Oh, Screw Attack, this is where this is from, this is amazing." But I
There it
never
is.
watched there it is, the Screw Attack itself. I never watched, AVGN on the Screw Attack website. I just saw it on YouTube, but it still had that bumper on it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And, the concept was so new to me of reviewing video games, right? I haven't seen that prior to this, I wanna say, or had thought to do that. Like, okay, people review books and products and this and that. Why not retro video games? Why not express your opinion on something that you love from your childhood or whatever?
Yeah,
And the way he went about it was like, well, let me show the frustration side of with these games.
and I think that was a fluke. I gotta scratch my back. Sorry, I'm using my Travis Barker stick to scratch it. But I think that was a fluke. Like, sorry, I'm so itchy. Um, like, I think he just made this video and made this character, and it was supposed to be like a one-off, and then it took off. And I don't
Right.
even think I think it was Mike that encouraged him to make that video.
Like, I think it was supposed to be the 3. I think he was just gonna do the 3 videos
Oh, yeah,
and he was like and he was on, like, a VHS tape and that he just like, "Hey, check this out," to his friends type thing.
and they were like, "This is great. You need to do more."
Right. So, definitely getting that encouragement and feedback. You're like, "Alright, well, this can go somewhere with it for sure."
You ever seen the video of him where he's doing, like, a class project, and he's just talking? He looks like he's about 17, 18 years old, maybe 19, and he's like, "I'd like to be like the father of, like, short films," and he's like, "I think I'd really just like to be like a cult following someday." And it was, like, so crazy that he said that because that's
Uh-huh.
exactly what happened. So I'm gonna say it now. I would like to hit 100,000 subscribers, have a cult following, and be a millionaire and not have to work real jobs ever again, and just sit here and chat with Russ because tomorrow when we check at the algorithm, our uh, our podcast is gonna like shoot through the roof because everybody and their brother is gonna want to hear it. Bam, forecasting.
We gotta start talking about some controversial stuff, or I'll get some more edgy titles.
There you go.
So yeah, angry video gamer definitely hit home with a lot of people. I wonder who would come next on well, what do you got on your list there of, I guess, earlier YouTubers that influenced this?
So I would say right after the AVGN, the next channel that I really started watching was the Game Chasers.
Okay. Mhm.
because
Very
and like
classic.
this is where I started learning about rare games. I had no clue at this point in my life that there were like over 600 NES games. When
Right.
I found that out, I was like, "Really? There were 600?" I was like, "Maybe 100, but I didn't know there were 600."
Because
And
you
then
watched The Wizard and you're like, "Wow, he has all 36 games," or
mhm,
whatever was out then.
exactly. So, um, and that's when I started learning about stuff like Surprise at Dinosaur Peak, which I'd never heard of till this point. Little Samson, which I'd never heard of to this point. And it was like someone said, "Here, Jay, here's a treasure box of all the Nintendo knowledge you never knew as a kid. And now it's open to you and you can go and learn about it." And that was like so fun and so exciting because I was learning about a new game that I'd never heard of like every single day. Shadow of the Ninja, yes, please. Kabuki Quantum Fighter, yes, please. Like just Battletoads Double Dragon, I'll take that. Like whatever I can learn about.
Mhm.
It was like it was such a roller coaster because like I now I feel like I know a lot of it, but
Right,
when
from
I those
consuming.
early days, it was like I couldn't get enough.
Right, and I will say, like, with the Game Chasers, they brought so much to the table as for formatting the game hunting experience. You because really early days, like, other shows that reminded me of that was American Pickers or, like, almost anything on those, like, history channels, the way they were doing the after interviews, and they're,
Mhm.
sitting to the side and, like, talking, and then you're cutting back the gameplay footage. It's like, wow, there's a lot of editing involved in this episode that really gets you, like, excited for the games where rather than it's just like a vlog and you're just like, "Hey, here's Dinosaur Peak, looks pretty good at it." Where now it's like they're showing Dinosaur Peak and then it cuts back, be like, "And then we were at the game store and I spotted out of the corner of my eye a little dinosaur and I knew that was this rare game." And then it cuts back
Right.
to gameplay footage and you're like, you get more of that storytelling
You
involved
get
in it.
more of the story, and then I think the other thing the Game Chasers really installed in me is, like, this sense of, like, brotherhood and friendship because it was, like, him and Jay and 8-Bit Eric would be on there and Dodongo and Melvor, and they'd always be just, like, busting each other's chops, you know what I mean? It was like
Right.
somebody was farting in the truck and the other guy or this guy had his greasy hands all over the game that he wanted,
Yeah.
it was that part of it was also super entertaining, and I think the really cool thing was and this took me a long time, and maybe people watching might say, "No, Jay, you still seem very awkward on YouTube." But it took me a long time to like be myself, I think, on YouTube. If you go back and listen to some of my videos, like my voice sounds crazy. I was talking with some like over dramatic accent. I don't know. It's ridiculous. But Billy and Jay and the rest of the gang just seemed very comfortable in front of the camera, and you could tell they weren't really like putting on a show. If the cameras were off, you could tell they'd be exactly the same way.
Right, very pretty genuine, and I met both of them multiple times for sure, and they're approachable, they come out to a bunch of cons, maybe not so much currently, but certainly back in the heyday there, it's like these were the go-to guys, like, so many people were checking them out, and I think their channel just exploded for having that professionalism,
Yeah,
you just didn't see it on YouTube, like, what they were bringing with, like, green screen and graphics and like
right.
I said, the format of
And
that.
bumpers and well, now
Right.
return to the game chasers. I'm a floating foot, or head or
Right,
whatever.
right. All the inside jokes, whereas you're bringing it back and like, okay, remember, 20 episodes again, this happened or whatever, and they're
Yeah.
they're
What's wrong with
reusing
these
that.
guys? That like what's funny about that is like at the time, like I was like, oh man, it's so cool to the game chasers. And I finally got to meet them. They came to Greenville because the lady that runs the store, or she used to run the store. Now Pac-Man Case runs the store, but Robin knew Jay from just like game stuff and
Mhm.
invited him out. But just a couple of years ago, when they came, Jay and Eric came over to the house when everybody was here, and Jay has been in this closet and played Contra with me and Megadan.
Nice,
That's
nice.
crazy. Like that's wild to me. Like Shady J has been in my house hanging out in the closet.
Bada boom.
Bada bing.
Certainly good for sure. I did want to touch back on, so we were discussing angry video game nerd.
Mhm.
And I feel like I don't know if you watched him or not, but I feel like if we mention AVGN nerd, we have to mention the irate gamer,
Irate gamer. Yeah.
which had a very similar concept. Instead of angry video he's irate, okay? And he's doing essentially the same thing. He's reviewing games in a, like, scripted format with skits where he's getting angry at these games. A little
He's
bit
getting
different
irate.
character, but he's getting irate. Um, and he's still on YouTube doing videos, and they eventually had a very short crossover
Yeah.
episode where AVGM was
Buried the
over there.
hatchet.
But where some people were kinda mad because, AVGN would put out a video and then maybe he had one in the works, but it happened to be the same game, and they're like, "You're
Right.
copying him, da, 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 da." It's like, it's just
I think
coincidence possibly.
I I think the irate gamer, is still being so similar to James, still has a lot to offer. I find his content pretty funny. It's not the exact same humor, but it's similar.
Right.
But his own jokes and stuff. But I think there's room in this world for both channels.
And again, he had other stuff on there where I'm trying to remember if it was the same channel, but he was doing, like, ghost stuff and, like, kinda switching it up other than retro games. But
Oh, interesting.
here's, yeah, here's his channel here, Irate Gamer, and, 172,000 subscribers. He's got 222 videos.
So he never quite blew up quite the way James did.
Right, and I don't know if that's just because, people were so loyal to James, they didn't wanna, like, support this guy,
I
you
need to
know?
watch both those Batman videos. They're recent. And that
Right,
cereal one, I have that cereal right behind me.
6 months ago. Yeah, I mean, and he had pretty fun special effects, and, he would use, like, Rob the Robot and, like, shooting lasers, and he would have reoccurring characters
Now
like
that
that.
does sound like that does sound like James.
Um, but yeah, I mean, he's been putting out tons of videos for a while. Maybe you guys haven't heard him, but I feel like, yeah, here's one where he did with Angry Video Game Nerd and Dick Tracy. They did a crossover
Yeah,
3 years ago. Um, Certainly similar content, but I feel like definitely shaped the retro game review channel aspect. So I'm sure he inspired people to, like, okay, we'll have other channels similar to this coming out.
right. But don't you agree there's room in the world for both?
Right, absolutely. Like, I don't understand the toxic, people in there were like, "Oh, you can't do the same thing James is doing," or it's like, okay, like, people done similar things, like, in music or whatever. "Oh, you can't write that song because it uses the same 4 chords." "Okay, but I'm gonna do it slightly different with a different
Right.
melody over it, whatever, put my own spin
Yeah,
on it."
that's
It's like,
right.
that's what he's doing. Okay, maybe he saw James, so that's pretty neat content, I kinda enjoy that, and I'll put my own spin on it,
Yeah, maybe he
essentially.
was just inspired?
Jeez. People so hard.
I
But
know, right?
I would come home, certainly check my subscription, and I would be excited to watch one of his videos or one of AVGN's that came up on the channel. I was like, "Alright." And I probably, I said early days YouTube, you could do the fun, comment reply video that they would
Yeah, I
have,
remember you telling me about those. I
which is
missed
kinda neat.
those.
Yeah. It's a little more interaction with there. I did have one more before if you have, anyone else, but I feel like, again, this is the trifecta. You got angry video game nerd, right?
Yeah.
Irate gamer, and
Okay.
then early days you got happy video game nerd.
Happy because you gotta have the black versus the white. You gotta have the yin to the yang.
Right. So complete opposite. This is I forgot his last name, but it's Derek, and he has a new channel now that is
Yeah, it's not the same name, right?
Stop Skeletons from Fighting.
That's a strange name. I don't
So
do
I
you
have
do you understand the concept behind that?
I I don't know how he came across it. And I forgot, I don't know if he rebranded or if um he started a new channel and I subscribed.
I was about to ask why it has 2 eyes, but no, it's a Nintendo controller. That's
Yes, the
hilarious.
one eye is the D-pad and B and A is the eyeballs there. Um, so he kinda switched a little bit. So early on, I didn't know if You can look up older videos here. We go to videos, oldest. Okay, so here we are. Here's our happy
There he
video game
is.
nerd. This is 16 years ago. Basically,
I think that Metal Storm video may be about where I learned about Metal Storm, possibly.
okay. So yeah, he's got these early videos and basically his thing was he was sitting on the couch and he was having wine instead of AVGN would have a Heineken,
Have a
right? Beer
beer,
would
yeah.
have wine and it's more relaxing. And he would go over the positive aspect of all
That's
these
right.
retro games. And I was super excited to check out his stuff as well. And he's got plenty of awesome games on here. We got Star Tropics, Splatterhouse, Nightshade, Rocket Knight.
Little Nemo the
Um,
Dream Master.
Yeah, so tons of stuff, but then at some point, he did switch the content over, so if you go to latest videos, it's more weird carts, every Zeebo game, Donkey Kong Bongos, Resident Evil 4 demo history, so he kinda has shifted the content to this, I don't know, niche, odd content? I don't know how you would
Yeah.
describe it. It's not straight up reviewing retro games anymore, but it's like retro content of maybe things you don't know too much about.
Yeah, maybe he just found this more interesting and wanted to switch it up.
Right. But yeah, I love his logo. It's the little skeleton with the D-pad. I got a shirt a while back for him. I met him. He came out to Retro World Expo and we chatted because I believe he's from Canada.
Okay.
So he
I don't know
traveled
anything about that.
he traveled kind of far. But definitely having happy video game nerd, angry video game nerd, and irate gamer were like the trifecta of retro content in the early days of YouTube, and certainly inspired tons of people now who make content. Definitely,
That's right. Inspired and hired.
I dig it.
Uh, so we can't talk about the Game Chasers without talking about a couple wacky guys that may or may not have took inspiration from them.
Hmm.
You know who I'm talking about, Russ, so go ahead and say it.
Retro Liberty,
That's right.
the
Our
old Scott.
friends
I can't even find the channel because it doesn't exist anymore. But
our friends Aaron and Ricky. And you know that like I think the weirdest thing about YouTube is this. Um what I really wanted more than anything when I first started my channel was to be friends with these people that I thought were so cool. Aaron, you are not cool. You're a dork. Uh, but and now like I mean, I talk to Russ once a week. I
hmm
can talk to NES Complex. I do actually have Shady J's number, even though I don't text him because I don't want to bug him. I talked to Aaron on Signal. You know, like all these people that I thought were completely inaccessible.
right.
Somehow we all found our way together and we're friends and we talk, enough. And it's just crazy, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I have videos of on my channel congratulating Retro Liberty, like, "Congrats on, getting 5,000 subscribers," or, like, some
Yeah,
low number or whatever, and, like,
right,
going back and forth, and I remember sending them, stuff that I made. I did some DIY stuff that I sent them, and then they kinda give me a shout out, and we're kinda going back and forth, and it was so cool to connect with them, and I saw them growing, and I was like, "This is awesome." It'd be so cool to meet them, but them being out on the West Coast in Cali and I'm in Connecticut, I'm like,
right.
am I ever gonna get out that way to see them?
And now they're friends and do a podcast with this guy that run used to run the store that you worked at. That's crazy, right? And
Right,
they said
my
that because I heard Chris say that you guys would watch their show at the store.
right, I mean, when I worked at Retro Games Plus, I would put whatever we would have, like, TVs up on there, so I would put YouTube channels, so I would watch, Retro Liberty up in there and have it on, so if people came into the store, it's game hunting, maybe they'd be like, "Oh, who's that?" Like, "Oh, Retro Liberty, you should check them out," like, it's such a good name, like, retro, so it's about classic stuff, and I guess what
I
they're
really
liberating it from the,
I
from the
yeah,
flea markets, right?
I'm going on record here. I don't know if it would hurt their brand, but I wish Aaron would bring back Retro Liberty. It had some of the raddest logos too. There was like this X kind of like hipster logo and there was like a bear with a fireball, and it just his Aaron's got an eye for good aesthetics, and I thought that was so cool, that logo.
For sure, for sure.
Um, Man, I wanted to say something else while you were talking. I had it in my brain, and now it's totally gone. I will mention that Aaron bought a house here in Greenville. Um, but yeah, just like it's just so crazy to be friends with people that you. I know what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So when Aaron initially killed Retro Liberty and deleted everything, uh, what's the dude's name
Mhm.
that like said, "Send me your videos and we'll send Retro Liberty a goodbye video," and Aaron told me what's that guy's name? He was friends with the Game Chasers.
Right, that's Wood from Beat 'em Ups.
Wood, yeah, okay, Wood. He's a forgettable person, but, um, Wood so Wood had all these things. He's like, "Alright, send me a one-minute video, don't make it too long, 'cause we got a lot of people, that wanna say something to Aaron, and I'll compile all of it, and then I'll make this video." So, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna follow these rules because I wanna be on this video." So I made this very short, very precise 1-minute video, said everything I wanted to say to Aaron, Ricky, and then I sent it to Wood, and then I'm watching this video when he releases it. And there's these people that are going on and on and on and well over this 1 minute timeline that Wood said is what was a requirement.
Right.
You get to my video, he clips the beginning and the end, if I remember correctly. If not the beginning, at least the end. So you don't even get to hear me say the last final second of things I wanted to say. And meanwhile, these other people are going on forever, and I kept mine nice and precise, and he just clipped me right off. So, Wood, you suck. Your channel's crap. I don't care. I don't know.
I will say, David Apuzzo, told him off, before at one of the conventions. I met Wood, he came out years ago to, like, the first Retro World Expo in Connecticut, and I have him on my channel saying, like, "Hey, I'm here with Russ, like, check out his YouTube," or whatever. Because I was like,
Well,
"Oh."
here's the thing. I think he was cool at one point
Well,
when
I
he
will
was
say
friend.
he's definitely, I would say, influential to make
He
this
got
list.
too
Like,
big for his britches.
they started in Australia. The channel was called Beat 'em Ups. It was Wood and another guy, and they were doing the same thing that Game Chasers was doing and Retro Liberty. So they ended up becoming buddies with those people. So somehow Wood ended up coming to the States, and then you would see him on the Game Chasers channel or on Retro Liberty doing videos, and then he ended up just kind of staying here, making a life, and the rest is
And
history. He
and
ended
he
up
blew up.
he blew up. He did get a deal with Nintendo, so he was like a Nintendo ambassador on YouTube and got tons of followers. And I don't know, I just didn't like his personality essentially, so I stopped following him and stuff. But I feel like I'm sure he inspired some people to get into retro content and shed some light in there. But he did do a crappy thing with when Retro Liberty nixed their channel. He was all in on like, yes, we're gonna do this. This is gonna be a Retro Liberty Day and and
Every
like
year, it
none of
never
that happened.
happens.
Nothing happened. And I
Right, and
somehow found Riff as his new persona as Aaron came back like
me
on a
too.
whim.
Me too. That's exactly how I found him. And so I have 2 things to say. Number 1, I know that Aaron would never say a bad word about Wood. So I'm gonna say it for him. He sucks. I don't like him. But 2, uh, yeah, when I first saw Rift come back, I think he was playing a mobile game. I think he was playing Stranger Things, and I think that's how I randomly found him. And I see this guy, and he's got, like, this mustache and these glasses, and he's dressed up kinda crazy. And I watched Retro Liberty religiously, like, I was obsessed. I watched this show for 15 minutes, and then my jaw dropped, and I almost dropped my phone, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Aaron. It's
Because
Aaron."
for
I
whatever it
didn't
was,
I
yeah,
had no clue it was him for, like, 15 minutes, which blows my mind.
we essentially don't really know the whole story, but Aaron decided to come back, but he wanted to separate YouTube and his personal life. So he created a persona, Riff. Riff came from they were doing kids content on a different channel, and he had this hat and he was playing a sheriff, and the patch wore off some, so you got Riff instead of Sheriff. And
Mhm.
then he started wearing these pixel glasses. So this is
That's
my
right.
persona. When I'm doing this YouTube channel, I am Riff, and then when I go home, I'm Aaron. I'm doing family life. So some people know him as Aaron, some people know him as Riff. I don't know if we can find.
I still struggle to call him Riff.
And I was supporting
Repo.
the channel. I usually just stick with Aaron. Um,
Yeah, that's how I know him.
they were early on called Superhero Game Squad, and I have
That's right.
a hoodie that I bought, and it's like the Nintendo Switch, and it says Superhero
You're
Game
old
Squad.
school.
And then they ended up switching it to Pixel to be more video game based.
And I like Pixel Game Squad, but it's like if Blink-182 left and came back and called themselves, I don't know, anything else.
Is this Riff here? This is like the first video. If you go back,
That's Ri Is that Riff?
I,
Or
yes,
nah, I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
It's very
I
hard to
can't tell
tell in
by
this
the
one.
hair.
Maybe
I
it's that
don't
because they had a few guys on the
Yeah,
channel. Oldest
but I
videos.
he was playing,
This is definitely him here.
yeah, that's Riff.
But he usually would wear the Pixel glasses.
Yeah, yeah.
But they were
But
pumping out content, like, nonstop on here and just kinda seeing what stuck.
Well,
Like, literally.
I think for about 6 or 8 months or something, I think that Stranger Things one, that's the one. It was one of those Stranger Things videos where I finally realized who I was seeing, and I was like, "What the heck?"
Oh,
It might have been,
here.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if it
6
was
years
that
ago.
one, but I was like, "What the heck?" Who I
Yeah,
was
so
like,
he's
"This is,"
always wearing these glasses with a sheriff hat, but then eventually he switches over to the Pixel glasses.
yeah, but it just blew my mind that I couldn't believe I was actually seeing my friend.
Right. And, they again, such professionalism with the editing, and him and Ricky would get these videos out quickly. Aaron do, I think, all of the editing.
He does
Um,
all the work.
but yeah, so
It's like me and
professional.
you. I'm the
Put
Ricky, you're the Aaron here.
it put in all the work. But that's
Right,
what
Ricky?
helps the shows stand out, I think, and that's what set the bar for, people watching. We're like, "Oh, I wanna do this content. I'm inspired." And you take that inspiration from shows like The Game Chasers, Beat 'em Ups, uh, Retro Liberty, and you're like, "Okay, if I'm gonna do a game hunting video, I wanna maybe try to match this level at it," so to say.
Right. I just wanna be as good as Russ. Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen, never gonna happen.
You know what's funny? That was in my I was gonna say, "Never gonna get it, never gonna get," that's funny that you thought that. Okay, so I think that we've done Retro Liberty justice,
Yes, yes.
but you know who gave Retro Liberty their big shout out that they needed, Russ?
Michael B. the Game Genie?
Nope. Come on,
No.
think West Coast.
Well, oh, Metal Jesus Rocks.
No,
Come on,
still
no?
wrong.
Still wrong. Who else is out West Coast?
Dude, who is the
Oh, 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 oh. We
cream of
will
the
get we
crop?
we will get to Metal Jesus, though. I feel like he's inspirational, but
Do you know now?
we are talking about NES Complex.
NES Complex, and that is probably the number 1 person on my list that inspired me to do YouTube.
I will say, I mean, we got to meet Chris is his name, a few times, and such a humble dude and a pleasure to talk to, and, like, so endearing, like, you're describing you kinda wanna talk YouTube and this and that, but he's like, "Tell me about life. Like, how's it going? How's
Right,
your family going?" Like,
he treats you like a person. Like, he's like, it's always interesting to me that whenever I talk to Chris, the first thing he always says is, "How are you, man?" Like, it's always genuinely wants to know what's going on with my life, you know?
right.
Humble brag too, he also bought a house here in Greenville. So at some point we will be neighbors.
Fantastic. Well, let's take a look at Chris's videos, oldest first. So we got 11 years ago. Is it fun? Kid
Is it
Icarus.
fun? Yep, great
So good
series. Is it
series.
fun? And he's explained this to me in a very finite way. but there's some secret pattern to Is It Fun? And when he finally gets them all done, because he has a select amount of games that he wants to do, and he just hasn't had time to do it yet, but it will reveal some kind of puzzle. I don't exactly know if I'm explaining that
Okay.
right, and
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see if Chris ever gets around to it, but I can't possibly fathom what it is.
Look at it. It's so old. It's in 4:3 format.
There you go.
Yep, 11 years ago. Again, fantastic editing, storytelling with the game. I
Yeah,
just love how it comes together. Like, this is early stuff, so we're all, trying to figure it out, and I'm sure, like, dusting off the old computer and be like, "Oh, what editing software can I use?"
right,
And learning more and expanding that knowledge. So, if you look at the stuff nowadays, I sat down with him at your house and chatted, and I picked up a few editing tips, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know you can do that. You can export something with a clear background." So now
right.
I use in my live stream, there's, like, Mario coins that come up and fill the screen,
Yep,
and, like, you can use that, and I was like, "I didn't even know how to do that in Final Cut because I didn't go to school for it. I just got the program and
right.
tried it out for myself, and then if I see
Well,
videos."
I have little plugins like that too. Like I edited a little warp pipe with NES Edit come out the side, and so I just pull that and lay it over whatever video I'm doing, and
Right.
that's how it shows up. So it's kind of crazy some of the stuff that we've been able to learn. Um, but the series that really got me
Mhm.
interested in doing YouTube was Nintendo Power Time Machine,
Okay.
and that's where he goes through a Nintendo Power magazine and talks about some of the quirkier aspects of it and really highlights it. And as a matter of fact, how I got in touch with Chris was I was friends with Aaron and I said, "Hey, I know you're friends with Chris. Can you please ask him if he would mind if I continue this series?" And so Aaron asked him that night and he said, "Yeah." He said, "Go for it." So me and Chris eventually got in touch and Chris blessed me with it and I recreated that background.
Oh, nice. I wonder if
And I
he just printed out pictures and then pasted that up there. I
That's
assume he's
the
not just hanging
yeah,
the
that's
actual
what I did is I went to, like, what's a printing
Kinkos.
place? Like Kinko's or something, and I went to Kinko's and I took, like, 8 magazines, and I think the only one that's different on mine is I didn't have that Mario 3 one, so I did Super Mario World, but I think the rest of them are exactly the same.
Oh, because you scanned the actual Nintendo Power and printed
I
it?
scanned the Nintendo Power and printed it, and then I put them on a whiteboard. So
Mhm.
if you'll go to my channel and type in, retro rewind,
Okay.
you can see that exact same background. And also, yes, I stole the name NES Addict, NES Complex. So, yeah, you can oh,
There we go.
like, see, the only one different is the Mario World, but I even tried to make them the same angles.
Yes.
So I really tried to, like, pay a
I mean, that's
lot
the
of
coolest way
homage.
it ties it in.
I tried to pay a lot of
Yeah,
homage.
I'll give you
I
like
always
a minute.
thought if I wanted Chris to see this, I wanted him to be proud of it. So,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I think he said, "Good job, Jay." So,
Good job, Jay. But yeah, I mean, other than that, how else did Chris, I guess, inspire you? How do you think he helped shape the retro gaming community?
I mean, he just gave it a different I mean, like, no, I don't think anybody was doing the Nintendo Power reviews. The Is It Fun, is kind of a different twist on it,
Mhm.
he wasn't just berating the games. He said I think it was like, "Yes, maybe Metroid is a little frustrating, but look, grab a map if it helps and go through it." But then I think where Chris really hit his stride is um,
These new
the
ones.
declassifieds, but especially after he did that Super Metroid retrospective, I think he really found what he was amazing at.
Right. I mean, he's such a good storyteller and putting it together and
And
getting the
plus
right images.
he just has a voice that just conveys a
Mhm.
whole lot when you're watching these videos. You just wanna listen to him. He's able to get that deep tone and his sound, and I don't know, I can't do it, but Chris is great at it.
Right. I mean, definitely checking out his videos. I said I gained so much information. Just like seeing little stuff like this. You got the the Game Boy screen, and then you see the the image come in and like rotating and getting bigger. Like I could just
Mhm.
tell the hours of editing involved just to just get
And
this
his
short video. Was this 14 minutes long? Easily probably put 50 hours into editing this
oh, I'm
video.
sure. I'm sure, and he's so meticulous. Like Chris, he wants every frame just right, every shot just right, and he just there's so many things he does that you would never know, if you weren't
Right.
paying close attention.
And he's
Um,
dialed back some, I'm sure would enjoy doing more videos, but he is a teacher as his full-time job. So he can only put out videos every few months. So if we go to videos latest, 3 months ago, he did secrets, codes, and intel on Zelda 2.
mhm.
And then there was a big gap between that, about 11 months when he
Yep.
did some other videos. But certainly early days, it's great. And he's come out to plenty of conventions too as guest, and he does a really fun retro trivia like knowledge
Yep.
PowerPoint that I think you won at one of his. Didn't you win a game?
I can't remember, but the last thing I'll say is the first time he flew out here to Greenville, he did a video with me, and that was like I was like, "All right, check one of my huge boxes off the list." Did a video with NES Complex.
Yes, yes,
It was the back to school Nintendo oddities video.
perfect. We'll get into some more here, but I kind of want to dive into. We got a quick comment shout out I want to
Let's go.
highlight. If you guys leave comments on our videos on YouTube, we'll do our best to shout you out here on the show.
Comment shout out.
What did they say?
So this was on our last episode when we were talking about our favorite NES endings. And we got Brian Star Lord says a Star Tropics remake would be great. I would finally play it. As someone who has never played it, I would be curious to see the note Jay was talking about. How'd you get it? Why you need it to progress and how it got framed is something you had to write down. So I did respond to this and send him a link. I said me and Jay did a top summer games that you should play, and Star Tropics had made that, and I explained the letter in there. I think Jay's going to get the letter. But essentially, you got to a point in the game where you got stuck and it says to grab the letter, and this is said letter, and it's a letter supposedly from your uncle. And little below it, it says to submerge the letter actually in water. So you could kind of see some damage on the letter there. And it actually reveals a code that lets you get into a certain door. So again, playing this game, growing up, had you rented it and not had the letter, you would be stuck. And there was no internet then to search up the code. You'd have to ask a friend if they knew the code. So a pretty cool piece of history. To get a complete copy of Star Tropics. Got the letter.
Yeah. And I got that letter from, the video game cavern. Robin had it in this big pile of, I think it was actually still attached to the manual that she had.
Hmm.
And so she sold me that. And after I played Star Tropics, I streamed it several years ago and I just fell in love with it. It was so fun. I recommend it. It doesn't even need a remake. You just need a Nintendo Star Tropics, and it's the best time ever. Wouldn't you agree, Russ?
Certainly fun. I've beaten it and played. It was funny enough is I think I borrowed it from one of my mom's friends back in the day. Like that just blew my mind. Like she had a Nintendo game and it was this like RPG Zelda-ish style thing. And she's like, yeah, here, gave me the full box and everything, and I borrowed it and beat it. And I was like, this is amazing.
That's awesome. So cool.
We got a voicemail too. Someone called up and left a voicemail.
Hey.
We have a phone number if you guys wanna call us. It's 949-682-9277. That's 949-682 warp. Could leave us a voicemail and we could respond and tell us how we're doing or anything. So let's hear what they have to say.
I keep dreaming, dreaming about my dream phone. It's for you.
Hey, just listen to the weekly Warpipe Wednesday. Uh, I agree. I also don't care about the Super Bowl. But loving all the fitness talk. I left a voicemail like last week and talking about, I used to go to the gym, cutting into my sleep time because, I work midnight, so instead of just going home and going to sleep, going to the gym. But yeah, I
Mhm.
agree with Jay. The cardio. Cardio's nice. I would go to the gym and I would run a mile every day. I'd run a mile and then I'd do the weight, like, and then, legs, abs, like the whole body. But I was doing the cardio for a different reason. I'm like trying to repair my lungs because, with my job, sometimes you're breathing in bad stuff and, they say your lungs will repair themselves. So like cardio is good, but yeah, maybe not for losing weight. But, I said the routine I found for me is, like I said, it's weird because me and my wife watching TV at night and the whole time we're watching TV, I'm like exercising for an hour.
Double
It's
duty.
not like I'm
That's
sweating,
right.
or they're sweating, but still, it's
Something's better
exhausting,
than
and you still
nothing.
gotta, try to like push yourself because it's so easy just to sit on the couch and watch TV. So it's still hard
Mhm.
to like push yourself and get up and you know exercise for an hour instead of just
It's
while we're
important.
watching 90 Day Fiance. That's right, my wife got me watching 90 Day Fiance. It's
Hey, that's
actually
okay.
not
I watch
bad.
Kardashian sometimes.
Give it a watch. Season one's not that good, but after that,
Picks up.
it's actually pretty good. Anyways, watching 90 Day Fiance, exercising. And the pop punk talk.
Oh, nice.
Like hearing
Gotta
about
love the
new
pop
pop
punk.
punk bands. I
It's always
remember,
going to happen
like
with me and
at
Russ.
Christmas, like Russ was talking about Bowling for Soup has a Christmas album. I don't know. I didn't know they had a Christmas album.
Yeah.
So I showed my wife. We were listening to the Bowling for Soup Christmas this Christmas. But anyways, and then last thing, Stink Bug song. What a good idea. I'm like trying to think in
Can
my
you play
head
it,
how the
Russ?
song could go, and it's like the
I
song's
could.
going, and then just sporadically throughout the song, someone could say like, "Oh, it's pink fog, I'm gonna squish it," and then the music could stop and everyone will go, "No, the stink will come out." Music starts up again,
Good. That's
and then
good.
later
I
on,
like it.
"I'm gonna squish it." Everybody, "No, the stink will come out." I don't know. I was just thinking,
That's funny. I
good
actually
idea
wrote
with
this
the stink
song.
bug song. All right, guys.
I
Bye.
wrote this song for Russ on the way home the other day and sent him like my voice message. So I don't know if Russ wants to play that or
Yeah,
not. We
I'll
can
play a
save it if
short
he
one.
wants.
So if you guys don't know, I have a kids YouTube channel that had started. I have lots of YouTube channels I've restarted, so I have plenty of projects going. I only have one video on the kids channel. Kids channel is called Russ Lee Man. So it's a play on my name. My name is Russ Lyman, Lyman. So combining it, Russ Lee and then man. Like I'm a burly man. I dress like a lumberjack. So I wrote a song about camping. I've yet to record it, but I played it on the podcast before. And Jay said he wants to contribute to that. So he wrote a song about a stink bug. So we got a first verse and possibly a chorus. I tried to write some guitar tracks. It's just Jay singing, but
Yeah.
I'll play it and see if you guys dig it.
I was walking through the yard today and oh, I saw a stink bug. I saw a stink bug. I was stomping through the yard today and oh, I stomped a stink bug. I stomped a stink bug. Here's the hook. And now it smells so very bad. And I feel so very sad. Did I stomp the stink bug? Did I stomp the stink bug? Yeah! Gotta do the Russ Lyman, yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to write some guitar riffs to it there, so it'll be in the works. So we'll have I Stomped the Stink Bug coming out soon to a I mean, we're gonna have to get a green screen going and have Jay in on the video too. I
Maybe
mean,
what if
well,
I
I could
could
just get you
what if just put my head on a stink bug? That'd be funny.
and say I could just have you walking around with your feet outside or something and like stomping around.
That'd be hilarious.
Sweet. Hey, appreciate you calling in. Glad you're enjoying the different content. Wednesdays we do Warpipe Wednesdays, so it's more of off the cuff, whereas Saturdays we're kind of focusing on the main content, retro games, retro tech or clothes and music and stuff like that. But we don't know. We do a Wednesday show, Warpipe Wednesday, and it's just Jay and Russ. What are you doing? Kind of talk.
Pretty much. We need our own song. Jay and Russ, what you doing? Let's find out. Yeah.
Nice. But getting back into influential YouTubers that shaped the
Yeah.
retro gaming community. Who else
That's
people
right.
grew up watching? Um,
I love that you say grew up because that was like earlier in your live stream. I wrote
mhm,
grew up at like early 30s.
right, right. I mean, I mentioned a few of them already. We could dive back into, but we're talking
Yeah.
West Coast. Metal Jesus Rocks.
Yes.
I came across his channel. I don't know how. Imagine suggested um, through the algorithm or whatever. And there was something about I don't know the way he spoke. I liked his fun intro because he played guitar
Yeah, that
and
was
like
cool.
and it was metal and okay, yeah, I guess he looks like Jesus. Sure, why not? Um, but I learned so much from watching his videos like about consoles I didn't know about, um, like the older computer games. He did a lot more retro with like Atari and
Right.
ColecoVision and stuff like that rather than just getting all that Nintendo content. He
A
was a
bit of the
little bit
more
more versatile.
obscure stuff that maybe wasn't
Right.
played quite as much.
And I enjoyed, Drunken Master Paul would come on, was his, like, neighbor or buddy, and I guess he was on, like, a cooking show on, like, TLC or something, and he would come
That's
in
funny.
and do some stuff. But then you got other YouTubers on his channel that I got to know about. You got John Riggs, you got Radical Reggie, Kelsey was on there. So these other YouTubers kinda guest spotted on his channel, and in turn, then their channels kinda grew with them, so they ended up becoming like the Metal Jesus crew, I guess, so to say, in the West
And
Coast there.
and I'll say John Riggs is my favorite of them because John usually showed up with a 10 NES games you never heard of kind of video. And because I was obsessed with Nintendo and learning about all these games, like I'm quite positive Quantum Kabuki Fighter was something I learned about through Metal Jesus and John Riggs.
Right,
And
it's and the joke goes now was so funny, Metal Jesus would always do these, hidden gem videos, right?
yes,
Hidden gems. Show you these awesome games. And now the prices of these games go up because everyone's looking for them.
that's right.
So that's the joke now, like, he does a hidden gem, these games are gonna go skyrocketing now because everyone wants them
I remember James and Mike played some airplane game. Crap, I can't think of the name of it. But
on
it went up.
NES,
Yeah, it went up like 15, $20, and luckily I was able to find it, but it was just
maybe like
it's just
1942 or
no, it's like you're flying from right to left, and it's like going up and down. I don't know. I'd have to look. I'm sure I could find it, but I have no idea. But yeah, that's a weird thing about YouTube. Like some of the bigger channels definitely influence pricing.
right. Yeah, definitely for sure on that. I mean, it helped out where you're going to these tag sales and flea markets, so you know now, "Oh, I should be looking for these I should be looking for Dinosaur's Peak. I should be looking for Little Samson in these games here," because those are ones you normally don't see at the game store, or if you did, prices are gonna be super high, so you're like, "If I could get a deal on it."
Gonna do it.
Yeah. But, yeah, I would watch a ton whatever he uploaded, Metal Jesus, let me jump on there. Even if he'd switch it up too and have, like, vinyl pickups, stuff like that, and I was kinda intrigued on that, okay, big box PC games, that's cool to
Hmm.
see. So I watched a ton of him for sure growing up.
I haven't watched him in years. I still love that you say growing up.
Right. Well, I
it was
mean,
like
we've been
it was
watching for,
like
like, 10 years, like
it was like our retro growing up.
it's just yeah, I mean, they've been on YouTube for a while. I've got to meet him, a few times. We chatted for what's funny is he came to Retro World Expo, a few years ago, and I ran up to him because I was texting with Aaron, and I was like, "Oh, Aaron left me a voicemail for you," or whatever, so, like, I let him the phone. I was like, "Oh, I do some videos with Aaron. We were doing the podcast at the time, Riff and Russ.
Yeah, Riff and Russ.
So I was like, I'm on a podcast with Riff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like I heard of
Because
that or whatever."
Aaron came up there one time. He was on Metal Jesus' channel one time, and that kind of like helped him a lot. I feel like.
Right, because like that's what I said. Like Metal Jesus was like growing channel, and so if you went on there, your channel in turn would grow because he was probably the higher channel, and then you got the John Riggs under it and Radical Reggie and all that, and then
Yeah,
people, oh, they're on that channel. Oh, they got their own channel. Let me check. You
right.
get John Riggs with open cart surgery, maybe like a little DIY stuff, and you're like, oh,
What a
this is
great name
cool,
too. Open
right?
cart surgery.
He's taking the carts apart, seeing if he could get them to work again. Like common problem. All of us
And
had
it's
these games,
a little play on open heart surgery.
right? He's a little surgeon.
Yeah, he was pretty successful most of the.
Let's see. I got two more on my list.
I have
Three more. I lied. Three
I
more.
have 3 more. We'll see if we match on any of these.
Okay.
Go for it.
I did want to bring up Gamester 81,
Yeah,
John, another John.
John Lester, right?
Yep, John Lester. I met him a few times. Super nice dude. Very cool. And again, he was kind of bringing that retro content that I didn't see on other channels sometimes. He'd be reviewing certain consoles or like even arcade games or like Pong machines and kind of like new stuff coming out that was retro related. And he also had his own website. I do remember this. He had Gamester 81 and you could be featured
Yep,
on there. And one of
yep,
my friends, Mike, had a channel locally. Don Gold is the name of his channel, and he was like on the site, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be so cool to like get some Russ Lyman content on there." You know, you would see. I think Happy Video Game Nerd might have been on there as well.
right.
So it was kind of neat with those early YouTube days. They had the websites where they would promote the content. Screw
Yeah,
Attack, Gamester 81,
right.
very cool. Um,
So, I'm sorry, finish your
no, it's
thought.
just yeah, it's just
So I was gonna that was a great segue for the person I'm gonna talk about next because I know for a fact this person was featured on Gamester 81's channel. And I'll just say my piece about Gamester 81 real quick is I watched him some, but mostly I watched him because he would be sometimes the game chasers would run into him at like conventions and stuff. So that's kind of I knew him
right.
as like a friend to them.
You get this spillover with a lot of these early channels where there's a oh, there's Gamester 81, like, OK Chief 420 or whatever,
Right, yep, yep.
like, all these other people, like, these side characters, and you're like, "Oh, let me check out their stuff. They do channels as well. Let me see what they're reviewing."
So then my guy is Michael B. the Game Genie.
Mhm, yes.
Michael B was awesome. He loved NES. He had these great top 10 lists. He had this great complete NES collection chronicles, which I totally ripped off. And now Mike does a lot of arcade one up, but his early stuff, like the stuff you're looking at here, was gold. And there was one video where he played Batman and beat it and was trying to beat it, and he like played it because of me. Like he was like, "Oh, NES Hack wanted me to play Batman, so we're playing Batman."
Mhm.
And and then one time I sent him Terminator 1 because he needed it for his collection. And this is funny, and I'm gonna set the record straight. But I remember when I got to be friends with my friend out in California. Oh my gosh, what is his name? I can see his face. Jeff. What's Jeff's name?
I don't know, Jeff in California.
Oh my god, what is Jeff's name? I literally
I
was
mean,
thinking
Jeff
about
is his
Jeff.
name. His YouTube name?
Yeah, what is his YouTube name?
Nope, I don't know.
He turned into a drama channel there for a long time.
I don't know. Not ringing a bell.
This is killing me that I can't remember this. I feel like I have autism. Not autism, but Alzheimer's. Um dude, what is his name? This is gonna kill me. Anyway, Jeff, I can't stand that I don't know his name. Anyway, he was like, "Yeah, I told Michael be the game genie about you," and I wanted to be like, "Dude, Michael be the game genie's not about me." I sent him a freaking
Send him a
Nintendo
game.
game like 3 years ago. Um, this is gonna kill me, but anyway, all that to say, I love his channel. I love these chronicle videos. And now he does a lot of arcade one up stuff, which is still somewhat enjoyable, but I just didn't like it the way I like the NES stuff.
Right. He's definitely shifted his channel to um more arcade one ups and all that. Just I guess whatever's the algorithm, right? What's pleasing the algorithm of getting the views. Maybe this is what more interests him. Early NES stuff, yes, was back in the day, but now, yes, shifted gears. Still cool dude. I never got to meet him, but we did talk a ton again with these early videos. They did have like video replies, and I've done that a few times for sure. And I believe I'm sure I had him cameo maybe in certain stuff on the channel. I know my friend Mike Levy, who had the channel Dongo, who was on Gamester 81, is good friends with Michael B. the Game Genius, done stuff with him. But certainly growing up with the retro stuff, he was on there. What are you pointing at?
Smash JT. The sticker's right back there. Smash
Oh, okay.
JT, Jeff from San Diego. Anyway, yeah, sorry, that was killing me.
Smash JT. Um, let's see. You got anyone else here? I got
I have 2, and, I don't have a lot to say about the last 2. One was just 8-Bit Eric, and it was mostly because he was like a character with, with the Game Chasers, and it's funny because Eric, last time he was here,
mhm,
uh, I was sitting at the little restaurant eating, and, where we all eat after the show, and he came up and he put his arms on my shoulder. He's like, "I've been wondering when I was gonna see you," and I was like, 10 years ago, I would've been like, "Dude, it's Super Gonna Bit Eric." Now he's coming up behind me, it's like I just really wanna be friends with all these people, and now I feel like, like, we've built this community where
mhm.
we kind of, at least we're, like, familiar with who each other is.
Absolutely. I mean, again, having those bigger channels, you get these sub characters that also have their own channels, so that it helps that channel grow. So yeah, of course, I checked out 8-Bit Eric, and we've met a few times, chatted. He jumped into my live stream like last week or 2 weeks ago and was hanging
Yeah,
out for a bit, and I was
he's
like, dude,
cool.
so great to chat with you. I literally chatted with him at your house in your kitchen all about YouTube, and he was trying to help me out to get my channel to get more
So,
subscribers and stuff.
funny story about that. When people come to Greenville, oftentimes they'll come to my house, and my wife was out of town, and we had already kind of a full house, and they were like, "Hey, Jay and Eric wanna come," and I'm like, "Oh god, they're gonna come, they're gonna who knows how much they've been drinking, they're gonna come, they're gonna trash the house." So I was nervous, right? And it wasn't that I didn't want Jay and Eric to be here, because I love Jay and Eric, and I want them to be here. So I talked to Eric, and Eric's like, "Dude, I'm telling you, you'll be cool. We'll be so cool. It's don't have to worry about anything." And they came over, and they were I remember like Eric was like helping me pick up like beer cans and stuff. He like helped me clean my house. He literally lived up to it. He's like, "Dude, I told you I was gonna help you." It was like so funny because I was stressing, but there was a lot of people in this house that night.
For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a good time though. Down to earth. Happy to have met them. I will
Oh,
say, oh, you got someone else
no,
to
go
say quick?
ahead. Your
I had
turn.
brought up Scott Squash. I don't know if any of you guys remember him, but I watched him a ton back in the day, and he just recently started posting content again.
Nice.
So he's getting back into the game, but he used to do, let's see
He's
if
from
I can go to,
Florida.
yes, he's from Florida. And funny, so his main, I guess, gig is he's a roadie for Corn, the band Corn.
Yeah.
So I was almost going to be able to meet up with him because Corn was coming to the Oakdale in Connecticut, but they had to cancel the show or something, so he couldn't go. But also early on here, he would do a lot of Halloween stuff, like decorations for like a haunted house. So I kind of watched that, but he also did retro gaming like pickups and stuff. So kind of mixed in here. So I would get to see like he would go to garage sales. That was his big thing. Go to the garage sales and then show you what he got. But his series that really took off was he would rent a table at a flea market and sell stuff. So it was called wonder if he has a playlist for it. I think video game sellers was the playlist here. And here we go. Yeah, video game sellers. He's got 149 episodes.
It was Bam.
Well, this is a newer one. So he did meet Bam at a convention. If we drop down here to maybe like an older one that was 11 years ago, I thought it was so cool that they were vlogging from a flea market, and he would show
Yeah.
like, this is what I'm selling, and then he would highlight like, hey, this is what the person's picking up from the booth, so you kind of get a shout out on the channel because you're picking up video games. But then he would go around too and try to maybe check out other booths and get some video game stuff. So
Get some
again,
stuff to flip.
right, him being a retro game channel, of course, he had some overlap with the Game Chasers, so he's done stuff with them. And again, now he said he took a hiatus and he's back posting content. And what's great is he had a contest to win a copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist on Sega Genesis. And I won on my birthday.
Wow.
He like drew the name and it was my name. And I got the copy. And the only thing it was in the manual, someone had colored some of the characters.
Oh no.
But I was so stoked. So that's how I got my copy of the game, complete in box with a slightly colored manual.
That's
And
hilarious.
yeah, he's super down to earth, cool guy, and glad to see that he's back on YouTube. And it could be tough, like taking some time away. And from when he started, and a lot of these people started, YouTube was so different. It wasn't so much
Mhm.
pleasing the algorithm. It was just like,
Right.
let's make the content that we enjoy. It doesn't have to be too flashy or really hold people's attention because their attention spans were, I guess, just easier back then.
It was before TikTok ruined us.
Now it's like everything has to be upbeat and no long intros and get right to the point and make catchy thumbnails and clickable stuff. So it's a little bit harder to grow as a channel or get people to watch your stuff. But
So I'll say the first Southeast Game Exchange I ever went to, Scott Squatch was a guest,
mhm.
and with RGT 85, and RGT only had about 50 or 60,000 subs at that point. So this was like, and he I remember him talking with Scott about like his plans to like blow his channel up, and I'll be danged, he did it. But
Oh,
yes,
RGT85 was talking to
yeah,
Scott like, this is what
yeah.
I'm going to do to help.
Yeah, but during my panel, RGT and Scott came in and, like, crashed it, like, in the best way possible, crashed it, like, they came in like, "What's up, guys? Like, we're here to watch NES Addict," and whoever the other person was, my friend Caleb, I can't remember the name of his channel. But it was just really cool because I felt like a lot of support. I was like, "Wow, these guys came to watch my booth. They don't even need to do that." Like, or not my booth, but my
Panel.
panel.
Yeah,
So that was pretty cool.
absolutely. Yeah. I think that probably sums up a lot. A core. I mean, obviously, we can't cover everything in the the
Oh,
one podcast.
I just wanna do an honorable
On,
mention real
let's
quick.
let's bang through some honorable mentions. People we
S
watched.
SNES Man.
Okay, SNES Man.
Loved SNES Man. So I recently passed 9,000 subs,
Hmm.
and I officially have more subs than SNES Man, and that blows my mind because when I was I love SNES Man. The only other person I know that loves SNES Man as much as me is Aaron.
Oh, okay.
Did you love SNES Man?
I probably saw some of his stuff, but it doesn't stand out too much on
Oh
mine.
man, his little intro song was the best. "SNES Man is the champion. He is 16-bit." Anyway, go ahead. That's the only honorable mention I have.
Um, what about shout out to Luigi Freakout 123 was
Never
a
heard of him.
channel with it was on the West Coast and it was a father son channel and basically doing pickups and you got to see them and you basically saw him grow up. I got to meet them when I went out to Portland Retro Gaming Expo. So it was cool to see them in person. Mr. Dude 286 was like an early YouTuber. We would go back and forth. It'd be like him. He was good friends with Michael B, the Game Genie, and Ed 311 T, I think was his name. And I did a lot of early video replies because they were doing like top 3 Tuesdays, and so that was super fun. I'd watch a ton of them. Oh, who's the guy? I didn't watch a whole bunch of them, but who's the angry guy that would do rants? Uh, shoot. Oh,
Oh,
Alpha Omega
Alpha Mega
Sin.
Sin, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have watched him growing up for sure in the retro gaming community. Him, Brental Floss was doing a lot of video game music, which was cool. He did like a fun track with like Mega Man. He's like, gotta run now, gotta run now. Da-da-da. He just put lyrics over
Yeah,
video game
that's cool.
tracks. So super unique. Anyone
Hey,
else
you know
spark
who
your
else
mind?
was kind of you know who else was kind of inspiring?
Hmm.
This dude, you might have heard of him, Russ Lyman. I remember watching his stuff before I knew him.
You know, I
No,
try.
seriously. I totally can throw you in there because before we were friends, I
Right.
definitely watched your channel.
I mean, we basically met through YouTube. That's how I got a lot of the friends in the community of making videos, and then you reach out, let's do a collab or something, and you get
You you
talking.
know you know Crying Nintendo Kid?
No,
Okay, so he's
crying
like
Nintendo
he
kid.
got a shout out from Tyler, My Retro Life, because he had a video of his parents giving him a Nintendo when he was a kid, and he immediately burst into tears. His name's Steve, and he lives like up in your neck of the woods, Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I recently got his phone number, and so now we text a little bit back and forth, but it's just like he was like, "You're gonna regret doing this, like, give me your number." And I was like, "Dude, you don't understand. I talk to more people in different states than I talk to people in my own state." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, that's the weird thing about YouTube. Talk to more
That's it.
people that don't even live near you.
Who knows what the future holds with YouTube on here, but seems retro gaming is still alive and finding different niches that keep it alive. So we'll do our best to contribute, and maybe we'll see you at some conventions. Come say hi or reach out to us. You can call us here on the channel 949-682-9277. Leave us a voicemail. Quick shout out to all our Patreons that do support us. We got Dan and Nicole's Treasures Untold, Joe Sheevy, Trace Living Good, Samantha Chang, Rodney Torres, Retroholic 16, and Austin Mills being top tier Patreon supporters. You guys too can support the show over on patreon.com/Russ Lyman. Again, we got new episodes every Saturday at 7 a.m. You could check out the other episode Wednesday. We got Warpipe Wednesday as well, which is more of off the cuff show where we're just talking about what we're doing.
That's right.
That's it, Jay. That sums up our episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it.
That was a long one.
It's a good one.
I
Hope
ran
you
my
guys
mouth a little too much.
take a drink of water here. I'm parched. All right, guys. As always, I'm Russ Lyman. Keep your world fun bit by bit.